Well, guys, Boris Johnson's announced he's going to remove the ridiculous Plan B nonsense that he imposed on the country last year. Also, from tomorrow, he's even going to remove the requirement for kids to wear face nappies in school, and criminalising people for not wearing a mask is also going to be going. Care home visits restrictions are being scrapped or at least reduced, and essentially he claims we're going to do the sort of things that we literally should have done from day one. Personally, as you likely know, I'll sit here saying I'll believe it when I see it, but here is the important bits of what he said to Parliament earlier.
We can return to Plan A in England and allow Plan B regulations to expire. As a result, from the start of Thursday next week, mandatory certification will end. Organisations can, of course, choose to use the NHS COVID pass voluntarily, but we will end the compulsory use of COVID status certification in England. From now on, the government is no longer asking people to work from home. And people should now speak to their employers about arrangements for returning to the office. And having looked at the data carefully, the Cabinet concluded that once regulations lapse, the government will no longer mandate the wearing of face masks anywhere. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, from tomorrow we will no longer require face masks in classrooms, and the Department for Education will shortly remove national guidance on their use in communal areas. In the country at large, we will continue to suggest the use of face coverings in enclosed or crowded spaces, particularly when you come into contact with people you don't normally meet, but we will trust the judgment of the British people and no longer criminalise anyone who chooses not to wear one. The government will also ease restrictions further on visits to care homes, and my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, will set out plans in the coming days. Mr. Speaker, as we return to Plan A, the House will know that some measures still remain, including those on self-isolation. In particular, it is still a legal requirement for those who have tested positive for COVID to self-isolate. On Monday, we reduced the isolation period to 5 full days with 2 negative tests, and there will soon come a time when we can remove the legal requirement to self-isolate altogether, just as we don't place legal obligations on people to isolate if they have flu. As COVID becomes endemic, we will need to replace legal requirements with advice and guidance, urging people with the virus to be careful and considerate of others. The self-isolation regulations expire on the 24th of March, at which point I very much expect not to renew them. Indeed, were the data to allow, I would like to seek a vote in this House to bring that date forwards.
Now, obviously, all that sounds great, but like I said, I'll believe it when I see it. Trusting this government or any of them is not something I'll be doing without concrete evidence to back it up. Now, I will also point out that even though I said it sounds great, it's nowhere near enough in my opinion. Everything should be dropped right now, and I mean kicked to the curb, never brought back in, and in fact outlaw it completely, so no government can ever do it again. Of course, though, one added bonus to this damage control by Boris is that it once again shows the restrictions put in place have nothing to do with fighting a virus, because they can drop it like a hat when the political need arrives. At this point, if anyone can't see that now, then they really must have shit in their eyes and ears, because the parties in 2020 proved it beyond all doubt. This should just hammer the nails into the coffin of that for good.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.